showing up at a public hearing, which I thought was something that was surprising to see somebody physically put in writing. I had two people send me emails that were actually here at the public meeting and decided not to speak because, and I think we all got at least one of those. Again, it's just one person. I got two, but a number of them talking about not wanting to show up to a public hearing, which I thought was unfortunate. But I think the reason was important. It's because they felt somewhat in the minority, at least insofar as those people that were speaking. In fact, two of the emails that I got specifically mentioned that they were at the public hearing but didn't feel comfortable getting up and spoke to speak. I also have received a lot of emails in favor of the budget as presented, specifically about the Board of Education. So I wanted to make sure that I at least acknowledge the emails that we've been getting. And I'm sure a number of us personal conversations as well. Joe, did you want to do anything specific insofar as presentation and kind of start?
Yeah. Good evening. I had the opportunity, if you want to call it that, to live through the last depression in the 30s. And even the figures and things that Paul has said are probably very true, but we're now in the age of reality, and we've got to pay attention to what we're doing. And what I've done since I've been first selectman is that every meeting, every monthly meeting of the department managers, I stress the fact that they should watch their budgets and how they spend their money. And I said you should consider your budget, your department budget, the same as your home budget, and take care of things. And I think that they have done a good job. Now, I have a few bullets that I wanted to present. The department's requested budgets came in almost 0.5%, or $186,914, down from the 2008-2009 budget amount. The selectman budget reduced the department's requested budget 3.18%, or $1,246,417. Overall, the selectman budget is 3.63 less than the 2008-2009 budget. Before the Board of Selectmen started their budget process, it was recognized that the estimated revenues for 2009-2010 were going to be approximately $2.3 million less than 2008-2009. This reduction is in estimated revenues for the most part represented projected reductions from some state grants, a reduction in interest earned due to declining interest rates, and the reductions in fees relating to building activity due to economic turndown, in other words, building permits and conveyance fees. The reliance on fund balance to fund the budget was also reduced by $619,000 to $2 million. Knowing that the revenue side of the budget would be short $2.3 million, presented the fact that a flat budget or a budget with a 0% increase would still produce a budget with a tax increase estimated around 3%, given a grand list that will not increase and possibly a falling collection rate. Given this situation, the Board of Selectmen set out to carefully review the budget presented to them by the departments, with the task to cut amounts where it made sense or was practical. The Board of Selectmen cut the following staff positions from the current budget. One staff secretary in the Selectman's office, which when Mary Kelly left, we did not replace her. One part-time OSA agent and one part-time office assistant in land use, one truck driver, one parks maintainer, which was an unfilled parks and rec position, and one part-time receptionist unfilled in the senior center, and one assistant building official in building, for a net of 3 full-time people and a net of 3 part-time positions. Now, this is a task that's going to be going on, has been already presented by people, that it's going to be going on for a number of years. So we are schooling ourselves up so to make sure that our budgets are in line with what's going on in the economy And I think that we're going to do very well, and I think that we should keep our spirits up and be positive, and don't let ourselves get down with the negative numbers that we hear every day. And I guess at this point in time, as you know, I'm not the world's whiz on finance. Bob Tate is here, and I want to compliment him on the excellent job that he did putting together the new budget. I think it's so much easier to understand, and it works very well. So if we have any questions, either myself or Bob will be glad to answer them.
Thanks, Joe. Anybody want to start?
Do you want to take this mic?
Do you want to say anything, Bob? You don't have to. I'm sure you'll be saying much.
I guess the only thing right now in the beginning is I have some new revenue projections that you can replace the revenue items that are in your packet.
What is the number?
It's pretty similar to what you have. The earned interest has gone down 100,000. When we initially did the 08-09 budget, the interest rates then were 4%. Now they're 1%. So that's the effect it had on that account. So I'll just hand them out now.
I think, Bob, just for one, I think for people's point of interest here, you ought to explain how the revenue does affect the budget. I mean, it's all well and good for people to come in at zero increase or no increase, but the decrease in revenue this year obviously is going to be a major impact on the budget.
Right. Typically, in normal years, you expect your revenues at least to stay the same. That way, we usually concentrate on the expenditure side. If the expenditure side stays flat, typically you have no tax increase. This year, and it's happening to the state too, it's the revenue side that's being affected. We're getting reduced state grants, even though they kept the Board of Ed grants level. They did decrease the Pequot and one other grant, can't recall. And interest, obviously, revenues are being affected, and so are the building activity types of fees. So when the revenues go down, what do you do? If you have a level budget, you have to increase the other revenue, which are taxes. So that's the problem we're having this year and next year.
Can I ask, Bob, if you know, what's the latest word on how much we may be receiving in the federal stimulus package? Newtown, either on the town
You
side?
get bits and pieces, and you don't know for sure. You know how much the state is getting, and you know they're going to keep a chunk. I've heard on the Board of Ed side, on special ed, there's some talk of about $1.05 million going into special education to Newtown. That's prelim, you know.
Is that additional money, or is that total?
That's additional money.
How about on the town
And I'm not sure about, we're all interested in highway funds. And you hope we get at least $800,000 to cover the reduction in highway budget funds that we reduced. It could be close to that, but I'm not really sure. That they haven't come out yet, so I don't know really anything else on that. Yeah, it is.
On that particular point, Bob, the highway funds, the reduction was about $850,000.
That count into two, into road funds and highway.
Right.
So 450,000 was, sorry, bridges. So it was actually less than 850,000, somewhere between 400.
400 in highways and 450 in bridges.
Right, but the total is $850
In the department itself.
that we're expecting. Is it $850,000 that we're expecting to get from the stimulus package? And where was that number?
No, I'm just saying that's what we're hoping. But
Where does that?
the 800,000 came from somebody from the outside that mentioned that our budget decreased in the highway department, 850,000. But it really wasn't the highway account. The highway account actually decreased somewhere around 400,000. It's in the book.
But what I'm curious to know is where are we getting that assumption that the state's going to provide us $850,000?
We're not. We're not getting, that's not an assumption. That's a hope.
Okay.
I mean,
And I have a-
you don't know how much we're getting for highway funds.
So there's no educated guess.
Not right now.
That's a problem.
Did the Board of Finance receive the stimulus package that was put together by Fred Hurley?
No.